This bitch broke my nose.
Yes, I did.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Underrated Podcast. We're back at it again, and today we're going to be doing another big swing episode. The big swing episodes are films that we deem that, they swung for the fences and they just didn't quite hit the mark. I guess the five main criteria for these is they're hugely imaginative, massive special effects budget, impressive world building, pretty bonkers, and also they don't exist in a current film franchise. So, real quick, today we're going to be talking about Elita Battle Angel, and with me, it's the regulars as usual, Ariel Ortiz.
Hello.
And Derick McDuff.
Hey.
And it's me, Alan. So, yeah, pretty much real quick. Elita Battle Angel came out actually last year. I could have sworn it came out further beyond 2019.
It's
based on a manga.
It's been
it feels a lot longer. I mean,
it's
going to be 2021.
Yeah.
When this drops, probably.
Yeah.
So
we're recording in 2020, but it's been a long, so we're still in the long year. But okay.
Yeah. But, if you guys are listening to this, you're on the other side.
Hopefully, it panned out better for you, for all of us on the other side.
What's it like over there? What's it like in this new time, guys?
Dude,
in the far up future.
I think
in the post-apocalypse,
would this be released after the new president? No.
Yes.
Because what is it?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait. What's the inauguration day? The 20th?
Is it the 20th?
Like
No,
the
it won't be.
21st?
No.
It won't
This
be.
will be the second week.
Yeah, because we're doing weekly episodes, so this will be it'll be before it.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, off topic.
Yeah, so it's Elita Battle Angel came out far off year of 2019. It's based on a manga and OVA by Yukito Kishiro. It came out back in the early 90s, I believe. I remember seeing the OVA in the early 2000s. And it was directed by Robert Rodriguez, starring Rosa Salazar and Christoph Waltz. So from what I've seen, it did fairly well on a $200 million budget. It made $405 million at the box office. Yeah, it's not a big. It made its money back and some bonus, but I feel
I want to get into that in a little bit, but continue.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, mainly I was just going to say, because I feel like nowadays you have to triple it. You have to make sure you make it triple or reaches $1 billion, Endgame and stuff.
I think Derick is going to probably touch on more, but this had a lot of extensive marketing in some ways. It had. Just to touch on it a little bit. Yeah, it had an installment kind of exhibition in 2 locations. I know for sure Austin, where Rodriguez's company is based out of. But it had I know the marketing was a big part of it, of cost.
Mm-hmm. I remember seeing it everywhere. I think I saw posters at cons. I saw it.
Yeah, it was a big con movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so pretty much what it's about is, like I said, it's based off the manga and OVA, original video animation, if nobody knows what that means.
I didn't.
But,
okay.
Oh, there you go. It's pretty much Japan would produce instead of doing a whole anime series, they would just kind of do a Cliff Notes kind of bundle up version. I'm sorry?
I was going to say, is it a motion comic or no?
No, it's an anime. It's they just kind of put it it's an adaptation of the manga, but they just kind of, instead of making it a series, it's more just a movie. It's kind of like what we have now, we adapt all these comic book storylines, but instead of doing the main storyline, they just kind of make it into 1 2-hour film kind of thing. And that's what they did with Battle Angel Alita. Or same with Akira, but Akira was actually theatrically released. But yeah, it's a cyberpunk anime film based 500 years in the future. I think it's 2563. Christoph Waltz plays Dr. Daitsun Ito. He's a cyber surgeon. He you know, and this time frame, everybody's like a cyborg or they have like mechanical parts and stuff. It's like Cyberpunk 2077, I guess, if to be current. But
it's very cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's very.
Just,
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean, the
super.
genre, not like the game. Like it's very cyberpunk. Yeah.
But yeah, like you know, the Christoph Waltz character, Dr. Ito, he's like kind of rummaging around all this junk. There's this big kind of floating island in the sky where like pretty much people who have like, you know, are better off, they're rich, or they're just profiting. Everyone poor and broke kind of lives at the bottom, and trash comes out of the island, and he goes and he finds Cyborg, pretty much with the brain still intact, still alive, and it's Alita, the titular character. And he goes, okay, cool. So let me go ahead and take care of her and rebuild her, kind of. And he gives her parts and everything, and then that's kind of where the story goes from there. And she's trying to figure out who she was, what she was before, and later on, you start finding out that she's like a cybernetic organism, part of this like super badass like female crew of like cyborgs who have like special body armor, whatever, the Panzerkunst, like the Panzer armor, and they're supposed to be like the elite fighters or whatever. When I think there was like a war before as well, right? Like the fall or something like that.
Yeah. They hint at like there being this big war like 300 years ago that kind of like caused the fall of civilization. It was between like Mars and, you know, like Earth, and there's all this kind of interesting backstory that's there, kind of just like that you just see in bits and pieces. Like there's a flashback to Elita fighting on the moon and stuff like that. But I'll get into more of that later.
But yeah, I just wanted to give everybody like a real quick synopsis of the film. But yeah, I want to know what you guys thought. Who wants to go first?
I'll start. So I enjoy it for the most part. I mean, it's definitely a Robert Rodriguez movie in its core of just being kind of like a little bit of well, this one is a little bit more curbed of his like outlandishness and stuff like that. Definitely for me, like Christoph Waltz's character was my favorite out of all of them. I felt like Alita, I don't know if it was because of like her naivety, like at parts and stuff like that, but there's a moment, especially with her relationship with Hugo, of she was kind of getting like there was one moment where she kind of got like that crazy girlfriend kind of vibe, like, you know, the meme of like just like
the meme where she takes out the heart, she's like, here,
like
oh my god, yeah,
especially because she's got those big
eyes.
eyes.
Yeah, no, she was basically like crazy girlfriend, like the meme of like, you know, the wide-eyed, like looking head tilted, kind of crazy looking girl. So I didn't really enjoy that part of the movie with her relationship with Hugo. I didn't really see the point of it, and I didn't really like Hugo that much as a character. I think that they kind of like suddenly make him like have a conscience in a bit. Like, you know, he's this guy that kind of seems like he's a good guy in the outside, but then like on the then he's like doing these crooked stuff, and then like it kind of like was like kind of like in from his friend, like, you know, like kind of a whiplash of how he like changed his mind on in his opinion on this lifestyle and stuff. But yeah, I mean, definitely the action was really good, especially with the rollerball kind of battle kind of thing. And this is definitely going. I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a sequel to this movie. It left it very much open, especially with the spoiler.
It was trying. It was real trying.
Especially with the spoiler reveal of Edward Norton's character as what's his name? As Nova and stuff. So yeah, I think it is going to get done because Rodriguez gets to do these movies. Like, he just has out We Are Heroes, which just got released a few days ago our time. And I think he does those movies like Spy Kids and stuff like that to enable his funding for these kind of movies, and like even like Once Upon a Time in Mexico, which is a really good movie of his. he kind of like funded that with like the Spy Kids money. So I wouldn't be surprised if out of We Are Heroes, like that money will be funneled into him, doing the second Alita Battle Angel. At least there being one more, I feel, because let me be frank that I don't really like Robert Rodriguez as a person. I think he's okay as a director. Like, I mean, like when like I like Once Upon a Time in Mexico. It's a pretty fun movie, but he does have some flops and he's very, very, very cocky of a person. But other than that, like, I mean, yeah, it was an enjoyable movie. I definitely see that, like, the quality of, especially with the special effects, was there. I mean, they did a lot of really good motion capture. I get, like, you get that kind of like anime feel from Alita, definitely. But yeah, I mean, it's an enjoyable movie, and I for me, I'm like, I understand why it's a big swing.
Yeah, so yeah, I actually liked it a lot. I was actually kind of surprised at how much I liked it, because I remember when I saw like the trailers and everything for it, I kind of like thought like, oh yeah, like it'll be like another one of these kind of like big ridiculous movies, and it'll be fun, but like I never wanted to go see it. Like I didn't really like know the source material at all, and I knew that it was like James Cameron and Robert Rodriguez.
Oh yeah, it's James Cameron
so
was in there too in the mix.
yeah, he produced it.
Mm-hmm.
And so both of those guys are guys that I am pretty hot and cold on them when it comes to their movies.
That's
because
exactly.
I feel like both of them, they can make some really great stuff, and they both are like pioneers when it comes to technology and digital filmmaking and stuff like that. And sometimes I think that they can get lost in the weeds of that. Like a lot of like Robert Rodriguez's stuff in like the past 10-20 years has just been like, oh, I can make anything out in my backyard, so I'll just go and do that, like, and make it all digitally. And James Cameron, I feel like, Avatar doesn't really have that much heart. It's more of just kind of like a way to show off all the impressive filmmaking. But they also sometimes they will hit the nail on the head. Sometimes they are at the forefront of technology and they do something that is just like incredible and never seen before. Like, I'll give you an example. When Robert Rodriguez made Sin City in 2005,
oh yeah,
you'd never seen a movie that looked like that visually before. It was incredible, and it was like one of the very first like digital movies of that scale. And it's because like Robert Rodriguez was one of the guys that George Lucas like got all these big directors together and was like, guys, digital filmmaking is where it's going. And like that's where I'm going to start making the rest of the Star Wars prequels in. And say what you will about a lot of stuff with the Star Wars prequels, like them ushering digital technology and like that being pretty much everyone in Hollywood except for Christopher Nolan is making movies that way now. And Robert Rodriguez was kind of at the forefront of this, and the same thing with this movie where he's like all the effects in this. It's like where you have just like a seamless character. Like, I don't really know why they decided to make her with the big anime eyes when no one else in the movie does, but like it works and it makes sense and it's cool. But aside from just like kind of like technical aspects, which are incredible, amazing, like nothing looks like this movie. Like even other big swings that have like these huge big budgets, like this one is completely, I think, unique. It's like the upper echelon of these movies, visually speaking. I was really kind of compelled by Elita. I think she is just kind of this good-natured, interesting character in a terrible world, and I kind of really liked seeing just like her optimism just kind of continually showing through, and just her going through so much shit. And to talk about, so the last movie we talked about, the first of the big swings, was Valerian, and I talked a lot about how it does feel like a real world, and this one feels like that too, but it's a lot less clunky in this one. In that one, they just kind of like stop the movie every once in a while to like tell you all the things about the world, whereas this one, it's like they're either kind of like the exposition is doled out either naturally, or it'll be like stuff in the background, like there's all that stuff about the war and the fall, and you find that out like as Alita kind of gets her memories back, or that's kind of like alluded to, like like there's like, oh, there's Mars up there, and like there's all these things mentioned. They don't just like stop and give you like a big exposition dump. It's all like you are learning things as she is, so you're in it with her. You're like
Yeah.
you're interested. You're like, oh, what can you tell me about this? What like she's connected to this? What's going on with this? You know?
Yeah, like I'm still not clear on. I mean, I'm still not clear on exactly what is Alita alien then, or is she
She's
partially
like
human?
a robot.
No, she's like the cyborgs.
It's like a
They're
robot
Yeah.
race though, or is it like they come
Like,
from?
they were created by
no,
humans.
they're like me. Yeah, it's like the Valkyries, I guess, in like Norse mythology. Like
Okay,
they're
so she was
cybernetic
at one point.
organisms.
She is human, but at that higher level, that kind of like fought against the bad guys, essentially.
Yeah, they're like the replicants in Blade Runner almost. Like that, I think that's
okay.
the closest comparison.
Yeah, like I think I don't know if it was there was another cyberpunk OVA that came out around the same time called Armitage the Third, and it was kind of similar in that sense where she was like a badass cyborg and like an elite kind of like Valkyrie kind of thing. And but I remember I think both of them were very specific in that they're like they can have normal lives, like they have the chemistry, the body chemistry to like have kids, you know, they can give birth and stuff like that. So I think
Yes.
like they're like androids, I guess, like cyborg androids kind of thing.
Mhm. Yeah, and it all of that lends itself to, I think, that this does really feel like a real lived-in world and not just like something like you're seeing the big picture, but you can see that like there's like, you know, off in the distance there's other stuff going on that isn't directly being addressed. This is a very big world. It's not a small world. You're getting a little chunk of it just through Alita's eyes, Alita's story, but there's all this other interesting big stuff going on in the fringes. And
Yeah,
it doesn't
like we
feel
don't see much of I don't want to say Valhalla. What's the upper level? Like the cloud, the island, the sky
I always
island.
forget.
But
I wanted
essentially,
to
like
say
the island
Elysium, but that's not right.
but essentially we don't see that as much. We just kind of like catch maybe just glimpses of like just a few of the space and stuff like that, and like yeah, you kind of see like how it's a little bit better, but for the most part, like for the most of the movie, we're in the, you know, the ground level of this place, you know.
Yes, the ground city is Iron City, and then the one at the
Iron
top,
City.
Sky City, is Zolom.
Oh, Zolom, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But you do also like the characters, because like you're just focusing on this small part. Did you feel really, really like real and gritty, and like they're very diverse, and like they all feel like interesting. Like you're like, what is this guy's story? Like Jeff Fahey, Faraday from Lost, is like a guy who like has all these dogs, and you're like, this guy he's got like robot dogs and stuff, and like there's all these different interesting hunter killers, and like there's all this shit going on, and like there's such an interesting cast of characters and just a world that is just exactly what I love about these kind of movies, and I really enjoyed it a lot more than I was even expecting. The one criticism I would have, because I feel like a lot of the big swing kind of have like one thing about it, is this movie is really being like, yeah, this is going to be the first of a series. Like it's really like it doesn't tell its kind of own complete story. It does feel like there are things there to set up future installments, which I feel like is fine in, you know, something like you know, Captain America, where it's like already part of an established thing. But when this is the first one out of the bat, it's like, don't just give me Jai Courtney and Edward Norton and Michelle Rodriguez in these bit parts, because you assume there's going to be a thing later, and then just end it on a big like kind of like cliffhanger and be like, we're going to get another movie, because it's really up in the air right now, honestly, if this film is going to get a sequel. And we were talking about the budget, and this is a thing with these big swings, is they have to make a shit ton of money to be profitable. And I was reading a couple of articles about this movie specifically, and we touched on at the beginning, like how it, you know, it did make $400 million, which sounds like, okay, yeah, there's no way it didn't make money. You look at its box office, about $200 million. But you basically, a good rule of thumb is you kind of have to double the production value to when you factor in like advertising and all that. So this movie probably cost about $400 million. That's what it made. And a lot of like industry people are kind of like, it probably had to make somewhere between 350 to 500 million to break even. So it's weird because like people really don't even know if this movie was profitable. Like industries are like, yeah, maybe it was a little bit, maybe it lost a little bit. It's hard to say, and that's why the sequel is so hazy. That's also why at the end of the year in 2020, it got a re-release, but that's also during COVID time, so who knows what the fuck happened with that? Like that didn't make anything because no movies that got re-released really made any money. So that didn't help clear anything up because that's what the fans kind of petitioned for, and then they got it. It was also like the last movie to be released as like a standalone Fox movie before Disney Studios took over.
So the Fox
but yeah,
produced.
So yeah,
okay.
it's really up in the air because these movies just they have such a thing like they really have to just make like $500 million at the box office to get their money back. They have to just like these have to be like Avatar movies where they make a shit ton of money. Another good example is like John Carter. Like that was a movie that like by traditional standards made a lot of money, but the film actually lost a bunch of money because it was like one of the most expensive movies ever made. And same with Alita. Like it's a very expensive movie. These movies, tend to not do very well unless they are something like, like part of a franchise. Like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies are all some of the most expensive movies ever made. And those make their money back because they're the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Avatar was kind of the one that like broke the mold that all these big, super expensive movies are trying to imitate. Everybody thinks they can kind of make, $2 billion or whatever at the worldwide box office because Avatar did. But that's lightning in a bottle. Avatar, by the way, I don't consider a big swing because I don't think it's really that. It's not weird enough. It's not, kind of doesn't have that fun factor that these kind of like craziness like this one does.
It's Dancing with Smurfs.
Exactly. Yeah, it's Pocahontas. It's
Pocahontas.
All that stuff.
It also was incredibly successful too. Like I mean, this is kind of based on underrated stuff too. So I wouldn't really call Avatar underrated. If anything, I would call it overrated.
Overrated. Yeah, exactly. So
I don't care. I saw it. I thought it was okay. I wasn't one of those who went and saw it in 3D and had a heart attack in the theater.
I think I saw it like maybe like for the first time, like when it was out on video. I don't think I saw it in theaters. Just definitely hearing the good things about it and stuff like that. And then when I watched it, I was like, okay. Like I don't even think that I was being biased or like it was overhyped for me. It was just like an honest opinion of it.
It hasn't aged well, but I
haven't seen it for a long time. Because
I saw it maybe last year, like for like I actually sat down and watched the whole thing through, and the effects are still okay. Like they're pretty good. Obviously now we're way better 10 years later, but I'm still kind of like, why wait 10 years to make sequels? Why is it like a 2
wanted to put it out?
He wanted to put it on it right away.
And it just keeps getting delayed and delayed and delayed.
He just
like that's my point is. But I was like, it's just that like Avatar kind of like was the first step with these movies. Like it was kind of like, okay, we'll have like it had the stuff like the world building and the like crazy special effects, but it didn't have the heart and the kind of like weirdness and that like a lot of these big swing movies bring to the table. This one kind of like just set it up, and they're all kind of like taking pages from it. But these ones are a step beyond Avatar, and I think that because they don't have the tropes that Avatar did, where it is a kind of just like basic familiar story, they might be not succeed as well with audiences. Another one I want to give an example of, it's another movie that was a big, really expensive movie that you could almost kind of consider a big swing, but it's another case where it's like, there's a lot of stuff in this where it is very just formulaic, and also it ties on a lot of like nostalgia and stuff like that, whereas these movies don't, and that's Ready Player One, the movie. So I feel like that movie is another one where like, it seems on the surface like it's a big swing, but it's really not that like unique because it is just kind of like 80s just things just recycled. Whether or not you like the film, I don't think that it qualifies for something like this, and I think that's why it made money, because it was familiar. These big swings are unfamiliar to, this one would be, to anyone outside of Japan. Like this is It's based on an anime. Like I can't think of really any like films like that were based on animes that like had this much of a budget and succeeded like this.
Because Ghost in the Shell didn't succeed for a different reason, but
that one I won't lie was bad. It was just like it had a lot of room to be better.
Yeah.
But I remember when I saw it, I was like, I could. It has the potential to be a big swing, but I think out of the two, Ghost in the Shell and Alita's like way better, like the superior one, the most recent like big budget anime adaptations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, but I really, was happy when I pitched you guys Big Swings, and Alan, this was your pick for your Big Swing. I was really excited to check it out because it's something that I was kind of like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. This is like does seem like it would be right in that category, and it really did fit that. And this kind of like bombastic, insane, kind of like fun, heartfelt movie, and like that's the thing I keep going back to is these movies are filled with heart, and Alita like literally is a character where she like takes out her heart and is just like, hey, look, here's my fucking heart. Like she's such just like a noble, kind soul. She's in this terrible world with like rollerblades and like her boyfriend betrays her and she's like, is Christoph Waltz a murderer? I don't know. And then she goes and kills this guy and she like finds out her dark past, but she's still so wholesome and hopeful up till the bitter end. She like fucking holds that sword up. She's like, she's like Captain America. She's like, you're not gonna change me. I'm still hopeful and awesome. And I
don't
just
think
love
she's
that.
Hopeful at the end.
You don't think she's hopeful?
I think she's broken finally, and I'm okay with that. I'm like, yeah. So that's the thing. I personally have a problem with naivety. I don't like people that are over naive. But I kind of gave her a pass. Like, she's learning new things and stuff like that. She's basically a clean slate, still in a weird way. But yeah, I got the sense at the end like that she was pretty much broken, like hardened. Like she cut her own
she's more
tear.
World weary. Like she's more aware of the world, but she hasn't lost that inner hope. Is what I took.
I think I took it as a vengeful thing. Like she's ready to come at him. Like she's gonna get him, and I'm like that's why I wouldn't mind a sequel because like I would totally be down with her just kicking the shit out of the person that Nova that basically like destroyed both of her lives. Like he killed.
I would love a sequel. That'd be amazing. I hope it happens because it's really like it could go either way now.
I think
especially with Disney owning the rights to it.
So Disney owns the rights.
Yeah, because this was a 20th Century Fox.
It was a
film,
20th
so
Century Fox. Okay, yeah, because I know that
20th Century Fox film to be released on its own.
I think currently is We Are Heroes is it a Netflix movie? I think.
Yeah,
so
I think it's a Netflix film.
But yeah, he's actually came out like I think when recording today, he came out and was saying that he's really wants to do a sequel. And he kind of like had some excuses why it hasn't happened yet. It's like, it's because Disney bought it. I'm like, it's because it's a fucking expense. It would cost hundreds of millions of dollars.
I mean,
it could happen. Like, I think honestly.
Disney would probably be willing to like give the rights to him, like especially when it's not going to serve any purpose to them. I don't think that. I feel wary that Disney would ever like produce something like this. You never know. Disney sometimes will surprise.
Under the banner of it's not called 20th Century. It's called 20th Century Studios now. They would just not call it. They're not going to say like Disney Alita Battle Angel. It would just come out. Under
well, this was I watched this on HBO Max. Oh no, I watched this on Cinemax. Sorry, never mind.
Mm-hmm. I think it might be on HBO Max as well because I rewatched it.
I don't think so. I think I tried to find it. I couldn't find it on HBO Max. But
or maybe Hulu. It might be Hulu.
But yeah, there's plenty of rated R quote unquote Disney movies that come out. They just made by Disney Studios. They don't just call them Disney. So they
no. Yeah, it would be 20th Century definitely. But yeah, I mean, I don't. It's a possibility. Like like I'm sure that if. The only thing that would worry me if Disney does decide to keep the rights, and that would mean that they wouldn't, is that,
Well, they're not going to give up the rights. They'll still make it,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's possible. I think it's possible, especially like if Rodriguez comes with them with the money, like which I think he's going to make with We Are Heroes, just because like all of his kids' movies make buco bucks with his movies. You know, buco bucks. I don't know what he said, but yeah, no, I think it's still a possibility of being getting made, and yeah, like
Yeah.
especially
I think
with
also,
Disney,
too,
like kind of coming out like with this past year, kind of coming under criticism of like not having more of that kind of content. I mean, it's not even that kind of like a bad rated R movie. It's just more violence than like anything like dirty or you know, like curse words or anything like that.
well, this one was PG-13.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was actually
Okay.
okay. Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
like
So,
Disney,
yeah.
like they're gonna still release movies under the like they're
Yeah,
still gonna release the Aliens movies,
Oh
which
yeah.
are
Like
made
I
by
mean,
Fox,
like
and
thankfully,
all
like
those movies.
with their you know like branch of Hulu, you know, like they are well they allow those kind of like more not like you said, not under like the Disney name, but still part of them, kind of like movies like this.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's also James Cameron's kind of like passion
Oh yeah,
project because
and James
for the
Cameron's his
longest time,
buddy with Disney. Freaking, they gave him a
yeah, he
land.
was.
He'll wine and dine Disney. Okay.
Oh
I
yeah, I
mean,
mean,
he's
he's
gonna make
like,
them fucking 4 Avatar sequels or something.
Yeah.
So, and those are
yeah,
also Fox movies. That's so there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
yeah,
Yeah.
easily. He's just gonna be like, oh look, hey, what did I make? Oh, Titanic and Avatar.
Yeah.
Okay, come
Yeah,
on.
that's true.
And like he'd been pushing it for like a long. I remember since like the mid 2000s. I think there was like always like those like I feel like the 2000s had a lot of movies in development. How and I remember Alita Battle Angel was on that for the longest time. That one, like there was a bunch of anime ones that were like Neon Genesis Evangelion, Dragon Ball, Alita. There was so many that they were like we want to make on the big screen. Ghost in the Shell. I think Ghost in the Shell and Alita Battle Angel were the only two that actually came out. I mean, Dragon Ball Evolution came out, but that's fucking garbage. But that's my least favorite film of I fucking hate that movie. It's absolute garbage. Worst film of all time.
It's like that meme of like upgrade, no go back for you. Of like let it get made. Oh no, don't let it get made. Yeah.
I remember they had a teaser poster. 20th Century Fox actually released a teaser poster in the 2000s for it, and I just had no idea what the poster was, but it just said DBZ, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm excited. And then the fucking garbage dumpster fire came out, and I was like, oh my god, no, this is goddamn. Yeah, that's where I kind of started losing faith in like anime adaptations made over here, but Alita kind of gave me a little more hope. Where I'm like, okay.
Hopefully, it gets a sequel because it would be pretty much the first of the big swing movies to get a sequel, since they all tend to do pretty. They can't make that insane amount of money they need to break even at the box office. So, if anything is going to get a sequel of this list, it's this movie.
Yeah, I think it will. I
would love to see it.
I think it would, and then like I mean, like especially when I realized like, oh, this got released just last year, like. I was like, it has time to like for a sequel to come. Like we are
it hasn't been sitting on the shelf for years,
Yeah, we are technically like just 1 year away from the first one being released. It could definitely come. I mean, like look at the Incredibles. Like it was 10, 12 years after the first one that a sequel came. I mean, yeah, and yeah, I think it will come.
I hope it's not that long though, because
I don't think
Avatar
it would. I think it would probably be like maybe in the next 3 years. If it's gonna happen, it will probably happen then.
Hopefully, yeah, because like Avatar has the benefit of James Cameron and it making like $1 billion, but with like Alita, it's kind of like, well, maybe because again, even though there was marketing up the ass all over the place, when I went to go see it in theaters, I think like when I got. The next week, you're at the water cooler, and you're just like, hey, like anybody see Elita this weekend? And everybody's like, I don't know what that was, so I just didn't bother. Like that's one thing that kind of got me nervous because like almost nobody I knew went to go see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
But
everybody was like, I don't know, man. It's like some anime thing, and I'm like, oh, okay.
yeah, but Robert Rodriguez is definitely a person of passion projects, and so he is very much like will get his passion projects done. Like he's made all these movies, all these shows that pretty much like he just wanted to make, and that I do commend him for that. So that's one of my main reasons why I'm like it'll probably get made, because like Robert Rodriguez is like it's his passion project, and he seems to have a way of getting his passion projects done.
Yeah, no, for sure. I have faith that and the fan base is like for this movie is very strong. Like there was like that's the reason it got its re-release at the end of 2020. It's because there was a very, very vocal, passionate fans. It's not like something like another big swing, like something like Mortal Engines or something where it came out like nobody cared, and it just disappeared into nothingness. Like this movie, I feel like does have staying power, and it and it did make enough of the box office to like them to look at it and be like, you know what, maybe we do give this one another film. And with the power of James Cameron and Robert Rodriguez behind it, I do have faith in it, and would love to see where this story continues into.
I highly agree. That my only gripe with it was just exactly how you said, Derek. I remember watching in theaters, and they had that whole like the big cameo, and they kind of left it off on a cliffhanger, and I was like, oh, you guys shouldn't have done that, but maybe again it's James Cameron and Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah,
and
Robert Rodriguez
they
I don't
really
think
need
has
the help.
ever
They
made
can ask Quentin Tarantino to just fucking pull his dick out and be like, give us another one.
I don't think Robert Rodriguez has ever created anything that's hasn't inevitably ended up having like a sequel of some kind. Like even Dusk Till Dawn has a whole series. Eventually had a whole series to it. But yeah, like Spy Kids has sequels. The Mariachi, series with Mariachi, Desperado,
Machete
Once Upon a Time,
Kills.
Machete Kills.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So,
Sin City even got a sequel.
Sin City, A Dame to Kill.
A sequel that was incredibly disappointing.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about it. I haven't.
Right.
I forgot about it. I haven't even seen it. Like I just kind of was like, I don't know, man. The first one was great.
Yeah. The second one is it's just like, this is fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. And you just watch it, you forget about it for the rest of your life. You're like, oh yeah, Lady Gaga was in that. Huh, that was weird. That was cool, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, man. Well, I'm glad you guys like dug it. If you guys get a chance, if I don't even know if it'll ever show up, because we rented it at like a Hollywood Video in fucking 2001 or something, and watched the OVA. And
it's probably on YouTube.
The one big thing I'll say, yeah, you can probably find it on YouTube, or maybe it's somewhere on Crunchyroll or something. But definitely, one of the big things that I like though is they adapted it very well. Like I felt like I was watching the OVA live action, like exactly like that. All the characters look great. The one thing I'm really glad they didn't do, which really disturbed 11-year-old me, was that's when I was like barely getting into anime. Like, I was watching Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Dragon Ball, and then, Fred, he's like, hey, let's watch this OVA or whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool, it's anime.
Before you say it, let me guess. Is it a sex scene between her and Hugo? Or is it killing her? Or killing...
No, the killing of what?
Oh, no. Killing of Kobayashi. Not Kobayashi. The John Earl Hurley.
Jackie Earle Haley?
Yeah.
No, the OVA was very graphic. Like it was super gory, super bloody. They do it in the Alita movie, the live action one, but it's off screen, which I was like, okay, if you really want, they were just trying to drive. It's the bar scene where like Alita kind of rolls up and she's like, I'm a hunter warrior now, and she's like kind of trying to be all badass. And
they kill the dog on screen.
They kill the dog graphically. It was disturbing, to say the least. Like it was just so like it was so sad, so depressing, and I was like, and literally that dude, you know how he like had those like tentacle kind of things, like cyber tentacles or whatever, like wraps around the dog, and just you see this little dog explode into blood and guts, eyeballs,
Aww.
everything on screen, and 11-year-old me immediately started crying, like, what the fuck? And when I heard this was PG-13, I was like, cool, we're not going to see the dog die. Like, I was like, thank God. Because they were trying to drive the point that, like, this isn't a kid's movie. This is intense. It's the cyberpunk future. People kill each other and all that. And I'm like, okay, cool. I get it. But they kept, Alita's personality done really well. Dr. Ito, like all that stuff was, they just did a really good job in adapting that. Which I was like, this is dope, man. I like it. Like the same thing. The anime, she's like very hopeful. She's naive, but she's like, hey, I when you guys say you felt like she was kind of like she broke, and then Derick, you said that she was like even more hopeful. I feel like she was like a good balance of the both. Like she was like, fuck this, all these things happened to me. You kind of killed my cyborg boyfriend. Now, he had he fell off or whatever. But I feel like she was still like, I have hope for the future, but I still want to fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys can, if you find it, read the manga or watch the OVA. They're both great.
Yeah, no, I'll have to check it out.
Any last thoughts, guys?
No, check it. Yeah, give it a check out. Yeah. I recommend definitely.
Yeah, and if you're not a fan of anime, like give this one a chance. Like I know a lot of people, they're like, oh, like my parents are like, oh, it's anime. Like this is not my thing. You
don't
watch
feel
it.
that
Just
much.
watch
you don't
it.
feel that much of anime. Besides your eyes, like you don't feel that much of an anime.
Like if you don't know that it was based on an anime, you would never be able to tell. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, cool. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm glad you guys watched it. I'm glad you guys kind of dug it. I hope you guys out there listening give it a watch. I think it was. Did we say it was Hulu?
I don't know if it's Hulu.
It's not on any.
No, it's on Cinemax.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not on like any of the like major streaming things. It's like on a couple. Well, the like the weird apps that nobody has.
Yeah.
All right, for sure.
I just watched it, through my cable.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's how I watched
and stuff.
I think it was like on Spectrum or something on demand. But definitely, guys, go check it out. It's a great big swing film. And definitely check out our other podcasts if you guys want to tune in. Ariel and Derick, if you guys want to throw it out there for everybody.
Yeah, I have my podcast is You've Never Seen with a question mark, exclamation mark, and I introduce people to movies that are considered part of pop culture or cinematic history, or even ones that I'm very surprised that no one's seen. Like, I'll branch into that once in a while. But yeah, it's I invite, I've had an episode with Alan, Derick, one with the bro, and yeah, it releases on the 1st of every month. The next one is the one that just came out at the beginning of this month of January is Train Spotting with Derick. So yeah, just look for the Screaming Lady in Green, where you find your podcasts. It's just audio right now. I'll probably release the video versions, but still no like actual video like we have here. Probably in a couple of months. Just when I have a good bank of it.
And also check out my other podcast that I do with these guys are on it all the time, called Gateway Episodes, where we show a gateway episode of a TV show to somebody or to me to see if it's something worth getting into. Also, guys, if you want to hear more about like the big swings and stuff, we've got 2 more episodes coming out later this month. So the following 2 weeks of January, we're also going to be doing 2 more big swings. And then I also wrote a piece on Medium called Hollywood's Big Swings Belong in Their Own Category. So just search Derick McDuff on Medium, and that'll come up, and I talk about all of this kind of like stuff a lot more in a different format. So go ahead and check that out if you're so inclined. I'll drop a link in the description.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Thank you guys for listening out there. If you guys have any suggestions, I mean, I'm really enjoying this kind of little mini series we're doing with the big swings. If you guys have seen any films out there, please like drop it on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Like, let us know. Definitely want to hear from you guys all the time. Like anything like that. That's what we're always looking forward to, is hearing from everybody. But yeah, hopefully you guys found this video or found this podcast well, and I hope you guys have a good one. Take it easy.
See you in another life.
Thanks for being amazing.